So as you could probably see based on my recent upload and all of my Twitter activity and stuff I've thrown in previous videos, I just was at PAX East on Friday. It's Monday as I record this. And one of the things that was at PAX East was Snake Pass. Now what they had Snake Pass running on was PS4 Pro and Nintendo Switch, and I know exactly why they picked those two systems. They picked PS4 Pro because they wanted to show console players what was the best way to play their game. And they also had the Switch version out for obvious reasons, because this Nintendo Switch community is the one talking about this game the most, and they wanted to show off exactly what they could do on this little handheld system that can also work as a home console. So I played both versions, and I want to sit here and talk about how the two versions compare and how the Switch holds up and what this means for maybe the future of multi-platform releases on the Switch, at least for now. So, as I said, this was the PS4 Pro version, and I had no way of going to the home menu and changing into 1080p mode or anything like that, so what I'm saying here is I'm assuming that the PS4 Pro just ups the resolution and doesn't do anything else. Just ups the resolution and everything else is the same. So that's what we're going to go into this video assuming. Maybe PS4 Pro mode improves some settings besides just resolution, who knows. I'm just going to assume same visual quality with upped resolution, kind of like an Uncharted 4 deal or a lot of games that have already come out for the system. So the Nintendo Switch version compared to the PS4 version, what are some of the differences? Well, the biggest difference between the two is that the PS4 version runs in 60 frames per second and the Nintendo Switch runs in 30. And yes, I'm talking about TV mode. I didn't get to play it in docked mode because it was behind a case, you couldn't take the Switch out. Honestly, with this one game, with the one version being 30 frames per second and the other being 60, I think that that's a pretty jarring reason to not buy a certain version of the game. A lot of people, including me, like a very smooth frame rate. Now, if you want to play this game on the go, and you're on the go with the Switch a lot, then by all means, get this version of the game, because, you know, that's the only one you'll be able to do that on, besides maybe a small gaming laptop, but even that's nowhere near as small as a Switch. So yeah, PS4 version 60 frames per second, Nintendo Switch 30. I mean, for a slow-paced game like this, it's not a huge deal, but I'm definitely a junkie when it comes to high frame rates. I'll gladly lower visual settings on this thing just to hold a steady 60 frames per second, because it's important. I think that the responsive control from 60 is definitely an important thing. So the second difference is that the Nintendo Switch version doesn't have as good of a draw distance as the PS4 version. I mean, this could be the PS4 Pro version increasing the draw distance even more, but again, we don't know the difference between the PS4 Pro and PS4 versions of the game, so this, I'm assuming that this is just the regular base PS4 draw distance and it's identical, because again, that's the case with most PS4 Pro games. It's the same game, just with a higher resolution. It's actually pretty congruent with these rumors we got that the Nintendo Switch runs Unreal Engine 4 in medium settings when docked, while the PS4 and Xbox One run it in high, and PC can go up to ultra. When you go on the PC on high, it does increase the draw distance. And speaking of what else it increases when you go on the PC on high, it also has better lighting. The PS4 version has ambient occlusion, so you get some contact shadows between surfaces, the grass is more shaded out. You do get better lighting on the PS4, while the Switch's lighting, while still respectable, you still get, you know, shadows and all that, and good colors. It's not quite as fleshed out as the PS4 lighting, and that's noticeable when you look at the two versions side by side. And finally, the last difference between the two that I was able to notice is it looked to me, again, it was hard to tell because these were very poorly calibrated TVs, they weren't really that good. I'm pretty sure that the Switch version in docked mode was running in below 1080p. I'm thinking it was maybe 900p, 720p. I could be wrong. We could be getting a full 1080p presentation, but it looked a little pixelated to me. But then again, I'm spoiled. I play almost everything in 4K now or higher resolutions, so, you know, anything lower than 1440p looks pixelated to me. But it's pretty safe assumption to say that the Nintendo Switch version is going to be a lower resolution than what the PS4 and Xbox One can put out. But I'm not going to put money on that. We could very well be getting a 1080p presentation from the Nintendo Switch version when in docked mode. We don't know. So I'm not going to put that one down as a definitive difference. But I can put the other stuff down, such as better draw distance, better frame rate, and better lighting and ambient occlusion on the PS4 version that the Switch version doesn't have. Another thing that they could have done is they could both be running in the same resolution, but the PS4 version may have some anti-aliasing that the Switch version doesn't have, and maybe that's what causes that pixelation. I'm not really sure. But basically the visual differences line up pretty well with that rumor that say that the Switch in dock mode runs in medium settings and the PS4 version runs in high. It looks around the same. If you take any other Unreal Engine 4 game and run it in the medium preset, you will see that what goes down, the draw distance, ambient occlusion is usually turned off, and there's no anti-aliasing. You put it on high, and all that stuff comes back. You know, the frame rate's its own thing, of course, but I think that pretty much confirms that those are the differences between pretty much any Unreal Engine 4 Switch game. Now what's cool about this is even with these visual differences we got here, when you look at the two versions side by side, it's not a huge night and day difference. Like when you played a Wii game and compared it to like an Xbox 360 game or the highest end PS3 games when it was a multiplat, it was a pretty jarring night and day difference between the two. Like it was like a generation apart in terms of visuals. And the Nintendo Switch is kind of like a half step between the Wii U, which in itself was already kind of a step above the 360 and PS3. It's kind of like a half step between Wii U and base Xbox One, and the visuals kind of line up with that. It's not a jarring difference between the two versions, so it very much looks like the same game, and it doesn't look like it's being, I don't know, gypped on the Nintendo Switch. So that's kind of a good sign for future games and multiplats for the system. If they can just lower some settings and maybe lower the running frame rate for the thing, you got a pretty respectable handheld here running these full-fledged games in pretty decent settings. And I know people are going to bring up Dragon Quest Heroes, but what we were looking at in performance was the demo. The final version of Dragon Quest Heroes 2 actually runs a hell of a lot smoother than the demo there. It still dips below 30 sometimes, but it's still a respectable frame rate. I mean, it's at least comparable to what you would expect from other low-end console games, and by that I mean like low-end performance. Of course, for me, I'm gonna get games like Yooka-Laylee and Snake Pass and all these other multiplats. I'm always gonna get the multiplats on the PC. Maybe in the future, like if I find Skyrim Special Edition on the Switch for super cheap, you know, I'll pick it up on there, because why not? It would be cool to have it on the go. But for me, I like to create my own gaming experience and adjust things to my liking, so I'll always be getting it on PC, especially for the 60 frames per second. But if you can put that aside, if you're one of those weird people that doesn't mind frame rate, or if you really want to play these games on the go, then you're not really losing much by going on the Switch in terms of visuals now. What remains to be seen is if the Switch versions have the same gimps that the Wii U ports kind of got in the beginning of the Wii U generation, where a lot of features were missing, certain DLC didn't come out, you know, game modes were missing, online was gimped. We're looking to see if the Nintendo Switch is going to suffer from the same setbacks that the Wii U was suffering from. So that's it for this video. I hope you found this kind of interesting. Are you going to be getting Snake Pass? Let me know in the comments what you think about this game. For me, I'm glad to see that the platformers are kind of coming back. I mean, we got Ratchet and Clank kind of that one was kind of a while back, but that still came out and got good praise and good sales. We're getting Super Mario Odyssey soon. We're getting Project Sonic 2017 and Sonic Mania, although that one's more of a 2D indie kind of game. And we're getting Yooka-Laylee and Snake Pass. I'm glad to see these platformers coming back, because I think platformers are a dying breed, and I would like to see more platforming games. So I'll definitely be picking up Snake Pass. I had a lot of fun playing it. Like, you actually had to... Everyone who went down to play that thing had to be pried away from it, because people were enjoying it too much, whether they were playing the Switch or the PS4 Pro versions. It's a good game. And so far with Yooka-Laylee, it's looking to be pretty good too. Of course, I'll always be skeptical. I want to see what people think of the game first before I buy it, but, you know, I'm glad to see this stuff coming back, so I'll be getting it on PC, not on any of the consoles. And maybe I'll get it on the Switch in the future if I see it on like a good sale. So anyways, give this video a like if you really liked it, subscribe to my channel if you really liked this video, or if you've liked multiple videos of mine, and you all have a great rest of your day.